I had asked a similar question yesterday, Luke, to one of our guests, Mark Lasry, in that whether existing assets that you're trying to manage have been hurt by the pandemic, or that it's created opportunities to make new investments. What have you been more concerned with or focusing on in the last 6 months?
It's amazing when you look back at the year that sort of we've had all these extraordinary, we're trying to get to bigger and bigger words than extraordinary all year, extraordinary days. But when you look at the sum of the year, you look at where we are at the end of the year, it doesn't feel very different than where we were at the beginning of the year when we were sitting there going, there's not much alternative to equities. Looks like they're going to go up again. Looks like there's going to be some decent growth next year. Looks like bonds are going to go sideways. Everybody's a bit bearish, but actually, the Fed is going to keep bond rates down. And, we've had this extraordinary year. The first half of the year was all about macro. And the second half of the year, and frankly, I could tell you, it was June the 12th, it changed from a macro market to a micro market to a stock picking, credit picking market. And sort of the last 6 months has been great for stock picking.
One point that you make, and maybe you can explain it, we have the benefit of hindsight now, but as the markets were recovering and we were scratching our heads and saying this doesn't match up with what we're seeing, you said it seemed irrational, but now looking back on it, the markets were being rational. It just didn't seem like it at the time. How so?
So, look, we all got caught up in the emotion of what was going on, and it was clearly very dramatic. But the interesting thing is what the Fed did with their intervention was to ensure that for large companies, and I know you've got a segment coming later on, small companies, and the small company world is where the pain's been. In large companies, which is what makes up the stock market, and obviously particularly tech, the Fed made sure, and also the government made sure, that things weren't going to go bust, that they were going to have very easy access to money. And that suddenly made it about going from a question of who was going to survive this to being a question of what shape people going to be when we come out, and how many years of earnings have you lost.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.